Tommy Robinson, because of his documentary.
Yeah.
I had a great interview with him on my Substack. You know, he explained one thing to me on the Substack that I was very confused by. I think one big difference between the U.S. and England. Farage came out against Tommy Robinson, which blows my mind. Nobody understood this. And Tommy Robinson, I mean, to his credit, he didn't sound resentful at all. He explained it perfectly plainly. He said, well, we have much more of a class structure.
I was going to say.
And he said, that's what it's about. And it's weird. He didn't even mind. I love Farage. I love Tommy Robinson. But if I were Tommy Robinson, I'd be a little ticked off. He was incredibly magnanimous about it.
I suppose if it's the somewhere versus anywhere person, Farage has to be able to convince both. He has to convince the anywhere elite as well. And by distancing himself from Tommy, while probably not distancing himself from Douglas Murray, he's able to do that because you've got
right.
But those are the sort of the tricks and tools to get into power, and I think Tommy hopefully understands that. But
he totally did, more than I did.
Yeah, it's nuts. But I'm sure there are things Trump must have distanced himself from, and then once he was in power, maybe didn't. I don't know.
Amazingly, and one of the things I like about him is he really hasn't.
He just sticks to it. He just doesn't.
He does not. I mean, it was so crazy that every time, it's not just Trump, every time a Republican runs, you have to denounce David Duke. He used to be the head of the Klan literally like 30 years ago. The only reason we know his name is every 4 years a Republican is asked to denounce him. For all we know, he died 15 years ago. He has no power, no influence.
I think he is on sort of YouTube interviews. You can sort of find him here and there.
Okay, you'd have to go looking, like I'd have to go looking for the Muslim parts of London. And they just kept asking Trump, will you denounce, will you denounce, will you denounce? And it was, I kind of appreciated him getting fed up with the question and sort of blowing it off. And no, I denounce all racial hatred. I forget what his answers were. But how many times does this need to be asked? In fact, one of them, a host at Fox News, Chris Wallace was in the debate, was one of the moderators of the presidential debate in 2016, then again in 2020. And his big question to Trump both times was, will you denounce white supremacy? Way to go. And right before the debates, I'm always tweeting, I just hope they get to the bottom of whether Trump supports white supremacy.
But why? You know what? Isn't it an easy win to just go, yeah, of course I do?
Well, no. I mean, it's a Machiavellian, sneaky thing for the media to do, because the way you can persuade people of something more than just saying it. If you just came out and said Trump supports white supremacy, somebody watching TV or reading it would say, he does not. But if instead you see him being asked, will you denounce white supremacy? A person does a little like backflip in their head. Well, I didn't know he supported white supremacy, but for that question to be asked, it must mean that he does. And I think it's a much more powerful way to convince people of a slander. And so it's a very insulting and nasty question to ask. I mean, the joke line of it is, do you still beat your wife? But just to ask the question, to make the person answer that, you kind of can't do it.
I wonder if he had just gone, what? Like when they asked him. And then
he kind of did.
Ah.
He kind of did. He said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Interesting. I guess I know what you're saying about, Americans are fed up of America having to sort of intervene in every war all over the place. An argument for the one with Israel would be Israel is sort of quite a good US strategic place in the middle of an area that could be very hostile to America. So just from a purely selfish...
Israel is different from every other country in the world.
Is it?
In terms of American support. Yeah. You don't have to worry about that falling anytime soon.
Yeah, but where do you stand on that? Would you rather America withdrew from that? A lot of Americans would.
I don't know what you mean by withdraw. I don't want to send troops to Iran. I wasn't. I was against Trump dropping the bunker buster. I do not think Iran is going to do it. They know they would be obliterated if they did anything aggressive.
When you've got a death wish, maybe you don't really care. You get 72 virgins.
I don't think an entire country believes that. But anyway, I think because there were enough people like me, like Charlie Kirk, like Steve Bannon, a lot of people saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. It turned out great, which is to say he dropped the bomb and that was it.
Yeah, Iran just went out of the picture, the whole story. I did interviews at the time with people, because I do them in batches before, and they go about like, hey, tell me all about Iran. 2 or 3 weeks later, I was like, we can't make this about Iran anymore. I've already done the interview.
Yes.
Because Trump just went, boop, no.
And his speech afterwards, I thought, was great. He said, now we're at peace. We're at peace with Iran. We won't do anything else. No, they're going to be lovely countries.
Well, we were saying like Israel's misbehaved and Iran's misbehaved, these two.
Right.
It's quite funny.